The Nile River is the largest and longest river in the world, and it is called the Great Nile River. Our Master Muhammad, may God's prayers and peace be upon him, said in the religion of Islam that there is a river like it in paradise, and this indicates the importance and greatness of this river. The Nile River is located in the African continent. The Nile River has two main tributaries, namely the White Nile and the Nile Blue. The White Nile is the source and stream of the Nile itself. However, the Blue Nile is the source of most of the water in the river, as it contains 80% of water and silt. The White Nile is longer than the Blue Nile and rises in the Great Lakes region of Central Africa, while the further source of the river is still unknown, and it is located either in Rwanda or Burundi. The river flows north through Tanzania, Lake Victoria, Uganda and South Sudan. The Blue Nile begins at Lake Tana in Ethiopia, 4, and flows into Sudan from the southeast. The White and Blue rivers meet north of the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, 5. The northern part of the river flows almost completely through the Sudanese desert to Egypt towards the north, where Cairo is located on the large river delta, the Nile Delta. Then it crosses the city of Alexandria and finally empties into the Mediterranean Sea. Today, most of the population of Egypt's cities live along those parts. Starting from the Nile Valley, north of Aswan, the Nile River has an ancient history, as one of the oldest civilizations in the world was built on its banks, the Pharaoh civilization, which dates back more than 5,000 years. This civilization, in addition to the Sudanese kingdoms, depended on the river since ancient times, as agriculture was its main distinctive activity, especially in Sudan and Egypt, so the Nile flood was of great importance in ancient Egyptian and Nubian life as well. For the pharaohs, the flood was associated with quasi-sacred rituals, as they used to celebrate the fulfillment of the Nile in celebration of the flood. They also recorded these celebrations in the form of carvings on the walls of their temples, tombs and pyramids to show the extent of their reverence for the flood. In the Islamic era, the governors were interested in floods as well, so they designed the Nilometer to measure the flood accurately. This scale still exists today on Al Rada Island, in Cairo. 6. In the late 1980s, the Nile Basin countries witnessed a drought as a result of the weakness of the Nile flood, which led to water shortages and a major famine in both Sudan and Ethiopia. However, Egypt did not suffer from the effects of this problem due to the water reserves in Lake Nasser behind the high dam. 6. It is noteworthy that in the modern era, one of the worst diplomatic crises emerged between the countries of the Nile Basin, specifically between Egypt, Sudan and Ethiopia, which is known as the Renaissance Dam Crisis due to Ethiopia's insistence on building the dam and filling it in 2 stages, as Egypt and Sudan considered this dam a threat to the two countries' share of the river's water. Dependent on it mainly for drinking and agriculture, while Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi warned against compromising Egypt's share of the river's water, considering that what Ethiopia is doing individually could drag the region into a state of instability with a total length of about 6,650 kilometers, 4,130 miles between the region. Lake Victoria and the Mediterranean Sea, the Nile is the longest river on Earth. The drainage basin of the Nile River covers an area of 3,254,555 square kilometers, 1,256,591 square miles, which is equivalent to about 10% of the area of the continent of Africa. Compared to other major rivers, the Nile carries very little water, roughly 5% of the water that the Congo River carries, for example. The Nile Basin is complex, and for this reason, discharge at any point along the watershed depends on many factors including weather, diversions, evaporation, evapotranspiration, and groundwater flow. The Nile is also known as the White Nile after the city of Khartoum, which is a term also used in a limited sense to describe a portion of the river located between Lake Nu and Khartoum. The White Nile joins the Blue Nile in the city of Khartoum. The White Nile begins in equatorial eastern Africa, and the Blue Nile begins in Ethiopia. Both the White and Blue rivers are located on the western side of the East African Rift tributaries and sources. Lake Victoria is sometimes referred to as the main source of the Nile water, but this lake is also fed by large rivers. The Kajura River, which flows into Lake Victoria near the Tanzanian town of Bukoba, is the longest tributary of the lake. The sources do not agree on which tributary is the furthest and longest to the Kajura River, and therefore the source of the waters farthest from the Nile itself cannot be determined. 8. The tributary of the Kajura River may be either the river Ravranza located in Bururi province in Burundi, 9, or the Nyabarongo River that flows from Nyungwe Forest in Rwanda. The two rivers meet near Rusumo Falls on the Rwanda-Tanzania border. In 2010, an exploration team reached a place believed to be the main source of the Rukarara River, a tributary of the Mojo River that in turn tributary to the Nyabarongo River, and by making an uphill path up the steep mountain slopes of the Nyungwe Forest, the team found a surface flow of incoming water from a distance kilometers, as this flow was considered a new source of the Nile, which gave the Nile a new length of 6,758 kilometers, 4,199 miles. The city of Josh Abai, located in central Ethiopia, is described as the Holy Land, from which the first drops of the Blue Nile originate. The Nile River exits Lake Victoria at Ripon Falls near Jinja, Uganda, and this part of the river is known as the Victoria Nile. The Victoria Nile flows north for 130 kilometers, 81 miles, until it reaches Lake Kyoga. The second section of the river, which is about 200 kilometers, 120 miles long, starts from the western shores of Lake Kyoga and flows first towards the west until it reaches directly south of the city of Masindi. Then the river changes course and turns to the north and makes a large semicircle towards the east and north until Karum Falls. The remainder of the river flows only westward through Murchison Falls until it reaches the northern shores of Lake Albert, where it forms a large river delta. The lake itself borders the Democratic Republic of the Congo with Uganda, but the Nile River is not considered a frontier river at this point. The river leaves Lake Albert and continues to flow north through the territory of Uganda. This section of the river is known as the Albert River. 11. In southern Sudan. The river continues to flow north through the territory of Uganda and then enters the borders of southern Sudan in an area located directly south of the city of Nimule. This part of the river is known as the Mountain River, where it meets another river, the Ochoa River, just south of the city. As for Bahr el Ghazal, a river measuring 716 kilometers, 445 miles, long, it combines with the Mountain River to form a small lake known as Lake Nu. The river is known after this lake as the White Nile due to the presence of white silt suspended in its waters. When the Nile floods, it leaves rich silt deposits that benefit the soil as fertilizer. In Egypt, the Nile has stopped flooding since the construction of the Aswan Dam was completed in 1970. Part of the Mountain River branches, called the Zaraf River, to reunite with the White Nile. The Nile River is one of the sources of electric power for Egypt is the High Dam as it mediates Egypt in its land in the middle. How beautiful is the Nile at night in Cairo. How beautiful is the Nile in its downstream in the Mediterranean.